intro. Welcome to the show.
The show.
You're
Yes,
here for
the big show.
hot modern action Tuesday night. I'm back. I am the intrepid Taylor Gunn here with the handsome John Douglas.
Sure.
How you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Glad to be back. We were testing some Team Sealed last week, so we apologize for our absence, but I'm sure...
I apologize for nothing. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
All right, well, John...
No apologies.
John stands firm in his way of doing things, and I'm here, with no regrets, I guess.
No regrets.
Played some Team Sealed last weekend. Got this modern tournament.
If you're
Here for you
apologizing,
guys
then
tonight.
you've got regrets.
What?
If you're apologizing, then you've got regrets.
Is that necessary? I'll have to think about that from a philosophical angle.
You think about that from the philosophical angle. In the meantime, we're going to talk about Victor Kurz and Robert Meadows, the old Grixis v. Temur matchup. Robert is a big proponent of this Temur pile. He's a big fan.
It's a pile.
It is a pile. I don't think it's very cohesive, but it's been serving him well. The cards are individually powerful, and maybe we're at the point of this format where just in the individual power level of the cards can carry you to the promised land.
We're going to find out this weekend. The pros are going to get a hold of this format. They're going to wrestle it to the ground.
Wrestle it right down.
And they're going to figure out who the king of the modern format is, as well as 6 rounds of Rivals Vixelon draft. I'm personally very excited about that.
You're excited about the Rivals Vixelon draft?
I'm excited about this Pro Tour specifically. I think it's going to be a nice one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun Pro Tour to watch.
So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much great viewing in the next couple weeks. So, this weekend we have a whole Pro Tour, as well as...
That's not this weekend, is it? It's next weekend.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that next weekend?
Yeah. Super Bowl weekend, man. Or did we look this up? I don't know.
No, it's next weekend.
We looked it up and it was...
I am so busy next weekend.
Are you?
Yeah.
You've got a PPTQ.
I got a PPTQ this weekend.
Okay, so we're
oh, that's what it is. I'm going to use the PPTQ, which is standard, and it's going to cause me to miss the first part of the Royal Rumble if I win it.
Yes, that is true.
So that'll be bad.
That is bad. Yeah, it's the 4th.
Right, the 4th is the...
And then the Pro Tour is the 2nd.
Through the 4th.
Yes.
Right. All right, so Robert starts off by fetching a breeding pool into the old
Serum
Visions.
Serum Visions.
I almost said Sylvan Scrying. I knew it was an S.
Yeah, that's not a Sylvan Scrying.
I'm just trying to send as many S's through the sound system as I can.
You're doing a good job.
Putting it to the test.
Doing a great job.
Shout out to Top Deck Productions and all our followers. We've got nice new equipment and setup here. We're always looking to bring you guys better coverage, better sound quality, better video quality.
We've got a viewer asking if it is Tuesday. No, it is actually Rusev Day.
All right, Rusev Day it is. And Victor Kurz is 3 cycles deep.
He did not like any of those, so we cycled them all away.
Is he on 3 foiled street race? I guess so. Here he is with a fetch land.
I don't know that they're foil. But they are certainly street raids.
Really?
Are we going right to 11 on turn 1?
Here's my thing with this kind of play.
Tell me your thing.
I just don't think it's... You can use the street race whenever. Like, it's not critical to get those in the bin unless we're going to cast Death Shadow right here, right now.
Yeah, but if he's like, cycle street wraith, draw land, cycle street wraith, draw land, cycle street wraith, draw land. Like, you want to have that turn 1 action. You need that turn 1 action with this deck. The fact that he was only able to muster a sleight of hand is more than a bit disappointing, I'm sure.
Concur.
It looks like he does have himself set up for a turn 2 Tassiger, which is pretty good.
Are they playing Tasker? I thought they were just going with the Angler at this point.
Well, I believe the card I saw in his hand was a Tassiger. Or is that an Angler? I can't tell. Little oversaturated on my end, but you know what?
That's all right. I looked around the corner and it's an Angler.
You got the angle on it.
Robert passes with an Island and a Breeding Pool up. So that's 2 blue. He could cast any number of interactive spells with that. More land from the Kurz side of the table.
All right. So I think we just run off this Tassiger here.
Victor's deck is one of the decks that I'm really excited to watch the pro level players pilot. Because I think the deck has a lot of levels to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of play to this deck for sure.
And so watching somebody on the order of like a Finkel or a Kai or whoever, there's a ton of great.
No way Finkel would play this deck.
Oh no, I'll bet you dollars to donuts he plays Storm.
Yeah.
Because he's played that deck many times in many different iterations in the modern metagame.
That is correct. Here's the Death Shadow.
So it gets remanded.
Like, all right, whatever. Here's a 5/5 Death Shadow. So this would be very dangerous against Robert's deck because Robert has access to both Bolt and Snapcaster.
Yeah.
So typically you don't want to go down below 9. But in this case, Robert hasn't fetched up a red source. So it's safe to assume that Bolt was not in his hand, or at least not in his mind. And Angler this time.
So that's an interesting choice because he can bounce the Angler, whereas I'd rather have him burn the bounce spell on my Death Shadow and then cast the Angler the next turn.
He's playing around a second remand. You don't want to get that Angler remanded.
Sure. Here's the red source, and here's a Tassiger.
Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf, the old 4/5 Tarmogoyf.
The old 4/5 Tarmogoyf. Is it 4/5? 1, 2.
Land instant
3.
sorcery artifact.
Oh, the Serum Visions. Yep. The old 4/5. Mr. Wolf MTG, thank you for the follow.
Is that your... Oh, Wolf with an E. I almost thought it was his persona.
Well then. So Victor's got to be careful about his life total now that he's seen this red mana.
Yep. Bolt Snap Bolt puts him just to 3, and then these... An attacking...
Oh, the
Goyf
basic
will get
swamp.
him.
That's a beaut. That is a good one. So I think we're going to have a Death Shadow here. A 4/4 Death Shadow. And passes the turn. 2 mana up. I don't know what's in his hand.
Yeah, hopefully he's got some interaction here because I
do see a blue spell.
can see Robert winning this out of nowhere.
I don't see any red in Robert's hand. Alright, so we've moved the exiled cards off of where Taylor likes them and right where he doesn't.
Yes, they're in the graveyard in my mind right now.
We've been doing a lot of that here in Magic these days.
What?
Just doing things you don't like. How about an end of turn opt? So they've
I like an end of turn opt. I think it's a solid time to opt.
right, but they've now dictated that the time or the proper way to use or to
Denote
signify your
energy.
energy is pen and paper, which I know you are
Oh,
not
I'm
a fan of it all.
infuriated by this. So they printed a physical token for you to put your energy counters on.
And then they're like,
Yeah,
no.
forget that. That's dumb. We were dumb there. I don't know why we did that. It's to. It's almost like keeping track of another life total.
Correct.
It like poison's the same way. It's pretty awkward to keep track of, I think.
No, poison's fine to keep track of.
Yeah, because I guess you aren't spending poison.
Right.
Whereas you spend the energy and you earn it from other cards.
Oh, he draws the fatal push.
Well, I think Victor's got the win on the board if he were to.
Tried to do the old 2 Explorer.
All right, here's the fatal push on the Goyf. He's going to move the
So,
cards around and never have the
Victor
fatal
has
push.
a remand. He also has a click. If he remands here, he's just going to get this fatal push resolved on his Goyf. There's nothing he can do about it. So I think he has to just let it resolve and click, or just go for the remand and try to
All right.
draw an out.
If I'm Victor, I try again.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that was. Like maybe trying to draw into a Dispel or a Spell Pierce.
Yeah, the Temur pile needed to go the extra mile there, and it did not.
The Temur pile did not go the extra mile. That is unfortunately correct. So Victor shared some spiciness with me before this round. He has the main deck Godless Shrine to facilitate more
Spots in the sideboard
for Lingering Souls.
and Lingering Souls, sure.
Yeah.
Is that standard issue?
I think standard issue is to have it in the board.
Okay.
He runs it over a second Blood Crypt.
That's reasonable. I mean, you only really need one Blood Crypt with the propensity of fetch lands you're playing. Because he's, what, 12 deep on fetch lands? 10 deep?
I would imagine 10.
And so you're going to get the fetch twice a game most of the time.
Right. But sometimes like having that second Blood Crypt is a big deal.
Sure. Keeping all those spells online is a tall order for this deck. It's very diverse in its mana, and the mana base is very painful, quite intentionally.
Quite intentionally. I wonder if he's still running Pyromancers out of the board. So typically, he ran Pyromancers instead of Lingering Souls originally.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if he's adjusted that to running both of them or just the Lingering Souls.
Yep.
But I guess we'll find out here.
Yeah, there was some rumblings of some no ban list modern, and people started talking about the implications of Pyromancer with Skull Clamp.
Yeah.
Holy smokes!
Holy smokes.
I never thought about that, but when I do think about it, it just makes me say, "Holy smokes!"
Gets your jimmies all rustled.
I'll tell you what it makes me want to do. It makes me want to play all the Phyrexian mana spells, like Noxious Revival in that deck. Woo-wee!
I think you're being a
Too
little
greedy,
extreme.
a little extreme.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that at all.
All right.
I think you just play your cantrips. The Phyrexian mana spell you do want to play, though, is Mental Misstep.
Absolutely.
No, but the reason people were talking about that was because this summer, for the Invitational,
Uh-huh.
SCG is doing an SCG Con, which will...
So they're running their tournaments.
Right. But they
I'm kidding. Star City Games has done wonderful things for the Magic the Gathering community.
Wonderful things. But no, they hinted at a format where you would be able to play Skull Clamp and Jace the Mind Sculptor and some other cards that were banned in Modern.
Glimpse of Nature.
I don't think they hinted at Glimpse of Nature specifically.
Oh.
Hypergenesis specifically, though.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Those turn 1 wins are pretty scary.
Pretty scary. I guess that card really gets around Mental Misstep, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't run any 1-drops in that deck.
That makes it a serious metagame choice.
Yeah, just instantly have 4 dead cards in your opponent's deck while you have a turn 1 win.
Available? Sure, yeah. Alright. Looks like they're done randomizing their decks. They've found a sufficient number of randomizations.
7.
Is the number of overhands?
It's the number of randomizations.
What? Is that how many times you need to randomize your deck before it's sufficiently randomized?
I think that's specifically for riffle shuffling, but yeah.
Okay. What's your general... Do you have like a pattern that you go through every time?
It depends on
Okay.
how focused I am. Like if I'm just F&M, I'll do like 2 riffles and then overhands until my opponent presents and then present. But when I'm playing in something and I want to make sure I'm sufficiently randomizing, I'll do like 2 or 3 riffles, 2 or 3 overhands, and 2 or 3 more riffles, and then present.
Right. I always pile it one time at the beginning of the match in front of my opponent.
You disgust me.
Well, just you don't think that's appropriate one time?
No, I think it's
Not
never
before
appropriate.
not before every game. Just one time to like be like,
Never
hey,
appropriate.
here's 60 cards.
Never appropriate.
It used to be standard issue to like pile shovel your opponent's deck just to like try and get them. Like, hey, there's 59 here. Do the drop kick.
The old drop kick. Pile shuffling is never an appropriate practice.
If you...
So what do you take with this Thoughtseize? Really depends on what's in Victor's hands, I guess, and we don't really know. Why are they...
Scavenging Ooze is probably my most wanted card. Is that a Traverse the Ulvenwald?
That is a Traverse the Ulvenwald.
So he's going to only be able to get lands with that for a while here.
Well, you're giving him a creature. He's going to have an artifact.
I think outside of your Death Shadow, the Engineered Explosive doesn't do anything. You know what I mean?
He's playing around the token sideboard with that one.
Sure.
In
I don't know
that
if
regard, it
Victor
makes a lot
went
of
into
sense.
that
I
plan.
would. Seems pretty good. He did go with the Scavenging Ooze, which,
Sure.
as you said, makes a lot of sense. In for one with a Narnum Renegade, which is more than a little embarrassing. Narnum Renegade number 2.
Pile-rific, yeah. Here's the Nile Spellbomb.
Nile Spellbomb could be a good one since he knows that Traverse the Ulvenwald is on the horizon.
That and nothing really matters. So, Nile
Yeah.
Spellbomb for all you edgelords out there.
And shout outs to my edgelords out there, keeping it real on the edge.
Keeping it edgy. We need you guys.
I'd offer you a seat, but you only need the edge.
It's like selling somebody the first 5 feet of a property. Like only the 5 feet on the front. We'll sell the back to somebody else. Here's the Death Shadow.
As a 1/1 and a Nile Spellbomb. Man, I don't know about this.
Well, maybe he's just...
He's trying to bait out the engineer explosives for sure. For one, which...
I don't think Robert's going to bite on that because these Renegades have Death Touch. And so, like, the Death Shadow's just brick-walled regardless. It can get as big as it wants. It doesn't trample. Yeah,
here's the EEL1.
Oh, I guess we are going to pull the trigger. I would have cracked it there if I was going to at all.
Yeah,
because now he can't, like, yeah, the Nile Spellbound card is worth quite a bit here, actually, in my opinion. You're never going to get him to commit more to the board.
I mean, certainly not any one-drops.
I like Snapcaster Thoughtseize from Victor's side. I think if he breaks this explosives at any point, you're just going to be so far ahead.
So Victor has an opt in hand. I almost like just opting and then keeping the one black mana open for the Nile Spellbomb. You're not really under any clock.
You could also make this explosives real embarrassing by just blocking one of these Renegades.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's a very reasonable thing to do. Although
you're just gonna
the one damage return isn't really doing anything to you.
Yeah, the one damage return is fine actually.
So Victor going to 9. Now the 4/4 Death Shadow.
And here's that one Blood Crypt we talked about coming out. Say hi.
There's the Blood Crypt, which signifies to me that he does not have the Lingering Souls in. Because now that you're fetching your third land, this is when you want to have it online.
Right.
Obviously, he doesn't have any in hand, but he does have another Death Shadow in hand.
I would roll off this now Spellbomb personally. I think you don't want to lock down your mana for the rest of the game.
Right.
And it's as good a time as any. You know he has Traverse Evenwald. And so you've really given him a lot to what's Robert got there? 2 in hand? A Traverse and Unknown. I'm not worried about it.
You definitely don't want to get this Traverse active. I'll tell you that right now. But not any real danger of that happening unless that lands a fetch and he top decks like a Serum Visions or something.
This is why I would snap Thoughtseize.
Yeah, you know you're at least going to get the Traverse.
You might end up like forcing him to. So Victor's not in like a terrible spot where he's like death is imminent, but he's definitely the person that's doing the least.
Right.
And that's not where you want to be.
Robert getting in for 4, Victor getting in for 4, taking Robert down to 16. That's a big chunk of life.
Yeah.
And then he can just pass here and represent Snapcaster Opt end of turn. Here's the Serum Visions. At least a remand in those two. Thinking about putting it on top, I guess.
Alright, so we're gonna...
Snapcaster Remand are the 2 for Robert. That could be a big game here. Definitely ups his curve to play out a Snapcaster here.
Right, here's another land on Robert's side.
So now, if you're Robert, do you attack with both of these Narnum Renegades, or do you still leave one back?
I mean,
You've
I don't
shown
know
him that
why
you didn't block.
I don't know why he wasn't interested in blocking there.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think you almost have to swing in with both and then pop the explosives if that's your plan, but
Right.
that seems very bad.
Yeah, I don't know where Robert has to figure out how his best way to close out this game.
And Narnum Renegades aren't going to do it.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, I guess. I guess if he can keep Victor like sitting here like looking at him like
Right.
they're fine, but like Victor's figured out that he has to do something. Here's some more activity to the board. Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf. And looks like we're going to get a free opt on a turn here.
Yep.
Going to scry 1. If it's a removal spell for this Goyf, that's a big deal. He's going to keep it. Oh, it's a Lingering Souls.
It's Lingering Souls, so we need a fetch land here. And
there
look,
it is.
There it is. Whoop. There it is.
Whoop. There it is. Whoop. So does Victor want to go down to 6 against a Lightning Bolt deck? That seems so bad.
Yeah, pretty loose. I would just roll this for a turn. Let it hang. Victor's thinking about his attack.
Swings in for 4. Finally gets the trade-off here.
Yep.
Now that Robert has the Goyf.
So now I want to cast like a Gurmag Angler or something very impressive. I don't want to do this. This is not where I would be.
I don't like going to 6 here, but if he doesn't have any other plays this turn,
Yeah.
then you just have to do what you have to do.
So you haven't seen any Snapcasters or Bolts yet?
Right.
You have to imagine he has some. You're just going to let it linger.
Alright, so here's some spirits.
Does he have to? Okay. I was worried when I saw him tap another black mana. I was like, "Oh boy, this is going to be pretty bad if we go in and try and put 2 Death Shadows on the board. That's asking for trouble."
So he also gets to shrink the Goyf here.
Yeah. If he thinks about it.
You remove the artifact.
Robert has
there's no
creatures.
lands either.
Robert has creature and sorcery too. So.
And now we also have creature sorcery. I think that's an op, so
Yep.
instant. So we got a 3/4 Goyf. Back up to a 4/5.
Got artifact and creature there.
I think it's a 4/5 now. So the dice might not be well representative, but oh no, that's a Snapcaster. That's not an op. Sorry.
All right. To a creature, sorcery, artifact.
We have to close out this game very quick if we're
Yes.
Victor.
Absolutely. He has to let it linger again.
Remanding this.
It's a good remand.
Very good remand. Draws him into a Snapcaster, which is going to let him snap remand. Oh, the 3rd Death Shadow. Man, that's a good one. And he has Snapcaster mana up to prevent a potential blowout. Oh, he also has the Stubborn Denial. He's in good shape.
Yeah, Victor's way ahead here.
Robert is playing literally Temur Pile.
It's literally a from what I can tell.
It's like a tempo Temur deck.
Yeah, it's trying to leverage. I think he's trying to leverage this card right here.
Traverse.
Yeah, like from that's the only card that's like unique and powerful that would make me want to play a deck like this. Like if you told me I could traverse Evenwald on a regular basis,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'll listen. Like I'm ready to hear what this argument has to say.
I'm a big fan of Traverse. I don't know that he takes very good advantage of it. I don't know what specifically he digs for other than just extra goifs. His
Yeah.
Snapcaster is okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's a card where you got to have some action in there.
I believe this land takes goif up to a 6/7. Or, I'm sorry, a 5/6.
There was a one-off, like, mono green kind of control deck in some top 8 to a classic or something that had, like, I mean, it was 10 or 12 cards deep of silver bullets to get with Court of Calling.
Sure.
Which is a little bit different than Traverse, but it represents the same idea where,
Right,
like, you
puts
can
into
go get...
play.
Yeah, but it costs way more. You kind of have to... It's more... You have to build around it even more than Traverse Evenwald.
Pia and Kieran Nolar is the pool.
Alright. So this is going to match the Souls tokens that are in the air. Robert has blockers for this turn.
Robert is down to 6 because he had to fetch for an untapped land, it looks like. Thought Scour for Victor. Turns over an Opt.
And a... Is that a
Some promo.
Dismember?
Maybe a Dismember.
I'm having fun.
Having a blast. Let's see what Victor drew off of that.
Content manager came back here giving us thumbs up. And we're like, "What? Yeah, sure, man." Snap Dismember, and here's the
swings
attack
in for the win. So that'll
to
do
clean it up.
Yeah, Victor takes it down with Grixis Death Shadow, Temur Pile.
So Robert did give him like kind of like a world to think through at least. It wasn't just like a roll, but like
so Robert wasn't
Victor was
really
ahead
in
the
that
whole game
until Victor popped the fetch to go get the Godless Shrine.
Yeah.
And then like Victor's outs became Lightning Bolt.
Right.
But he had just scryed 2 cards at the top that weren't Lightning Bolt, so
sure.
He was never really in this game, and
yeah, Narda Renegade's kind of loose.
Yeah, so it trades off with Death Shadow, but that's if they. Don't
I just think it's loose in every matchup, not just this one.
Oh sure.
I mean, I don't know
it's
if
out
it's
of the sideboard.
Oh okay.
For this matchup specifically, Eldrazi, I'm sure it's good against.
Sure.
But this matchup in particular, Victor's gonna have access to so much removal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing there, but interesting deck. He did pilot it to a top 8 in the Classic on a technicality.
Right.
So he did well enough to get it to the top 8 of a Classic. So there's got to be something to it, but I don't see it here. Maybe we'll see it later on if we can get him back on camera. But that's going to be it for round 1 of our Hot Modern action. We'll be back here in about 15 or so minutes.
Yep.
For the hot round 2.
You guys sit tight.